I would think the Calgary Flames are probably ready to leave St. Louis. I mean, we talked on the other show about what's there to do in St. Louis. Sarah Valley crushed St. Louis, said it was the worst. I think they're probably ready to get up on a plane and wherever. Plane out of to anywhere. This time it's Dallas, but I would think that they're probably done with St. Louis after
Done.
3 days, 3 nights.
Yeah, done, but at least leaving with a smile.
Were you sure?
No.
About a minute into the third period, they were going to be leaving with a smile because it was another lead after 40. Oh, blown lead in the third.
Well, even in the first, I was going, wait a minute. They're out shooting them and this and that. But St. Louis almost, I felt like they were playing better. Now, I think I was recollecting the second period of the last game where the Flames just kind of dominated them. I was kind of expecting that from the start. But yeah, when they scored in that third period, I'm like, oh, here we go. This is a recipe for disaster.
In that first period, and here we are critiquing a win. Flames win, by the way, by a score of 4-1, beating St. Louis. So they take 3 of a possible 4 points. That's how that adds up, I think. But I'm with you. It's weird because I didn't really feel like not that they were in control of the game, but I didn't feel like they were in any danger. It felt to me like whatever chances the Blues were getting or opportunities, it was coming from their mistakes. It felt like they were turning the puck over. Weegar threw that one right up the middle. Then Vladar needs to make a big save. It felt like it was unforced errors. But then you get to near the end of the first period, and I think the Blues had 13 shots, and the Flames were at the 20 mark already or whatever it was. And of the 13 shots, 3 of them were grade A chances. Sawed off the turnover. That was a breakaway. He goes in. Shen was able to cut in. That Achari play after Backlund, I think it was, turned it over, and it was a pad save. They had 3 unbelievable chances, despite the Flames having nearly double the shots. It goes back to that whole thing we've talked about. Shots versus chances. The Flames get tons of shots. I just don't know how many legit high-danger scoring chances they're getting.
Well, now it's just it. It's you critique a win only because you see a lot of similarities in the game and how it was playing out. They're tight. They're out shooting the other team. They should be up by 5. Like we should be. Yeah, but your shot quality is. And again, I don't do the math on a percentage of where the shot came. I see how. Okay, well they had lots of shots, but were there any that were threatening shots? Like. Did Greiss really have to stand on his head there? Vladar had to make some saves in the first, but it wasn't like it didn't seem to me. And I you know what? Get used to it. This is the Flames. They're going to outshoot teams, not outchance them. So, and which is fine. Yeah. It is what it is. But that's the truth. You can't be 42 games in and think that it's magically going to change. Pinder and his bell curve can beat it. I don't care how many posts you hit.
Well, I was going to say, Pinder be telling us all about the goal posts tonight, a couple for Mangiapane. Shots were, 40 to 26. So there again, a 36 save night for Thomas Greiss. I didn't feel like he was that busy. I felt like Vladar had to be the better goalie tonight, and he was. He goes in net. We were clamoring for it. I think everybody was kind of calling for it, and you know what? Good for him. It's kind of a broken play. Jake Neighbors gets that loose puck, puts it into the roof, but outside of that, Vladar was perfect. He looks good again. What's the math? Rick Ball had it at the end of the broadcast. 6-0-2 in his last 8 starts. I said it the other day. Just go on a run. If you're going to play well. It's your net.
I said trade Markstrom, so I went even further a while back. But
yeah, I know.
I'm still not sure if we're at that point. But I'll tell you what, he's making a case for it.
He's looked like a number 1 this year.
Both of them are making a case for it. Markstrom's playing like he doesn't want the job, and Vladar is playing like, yeah, I'll take it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. What curve is that? Is that a bell curve where one's going? I'm not sure how that works. Yeah, but I feel like we're at that point right now. He's been very good. He deserves the net.
Well, and you hope that, Daryl could be stubborn in different ways, right? But I'm hoping he's stubborn in telling Markstrom, sorry, you don't get to play till Vladar starts to sieve out. Not even sieve out, but look fatigued or not play as well as you did tonight. Like, you don't play till that happens.
And I feel like you're there. I know there's half of the schedule, a little less than half, but you can't be squandering points. And they haven't been, in fairness. We keep having that debate. They've been getting points, and I don't know. If Markstrom hadn't played as poorly as he did in that Oilers series, I would say you need let him get his rest, but he's going to need to play himself back into form because you're going to need him come the playoffs. He was so off in that Oilers series. I said it the other day. How did Mike Smith? Mike Smith won the goaltending battle in that series. Like what parallel universe? Where are we living where that happened? But it did. Um, I we joke about it. What if you've got something in Dan Vladar?
Well, you just count your lucky stars. That's awesome. Good for
If
us.
you had drafted him in the first round and he was playing this well, you'd be, oh well, he's the next guy.
Yeah.
But because he came in by way of trade, it's like, oh, you can trade him this offseason and get a bunch for him.
Hey, listen, they might be in a great spot goaltending wise. There's a ton of teams out there looking for a goalie, right? Like would pay handsomely to have a goaltender. And as it sits right now, even with Markstrom, you know, struggling, he would still be a hot commodity if you chose to trade him. Vladar right now maybe hasn't played enough, but I guarantee you there'd be lots of people that lick their chops to get a chance to get him. And the guy in with the Wranglers, Wolf,
Yeah.
the guy looks legit, right? Like
Yeah.
you have a great situation brewing. And the best case scenario for to even improve upon it is that Markstrom finds his game just a little bit, and now you've got three guys. Not that maybe Wolf is ready quite yet, but he's sure giving you the confidence that when you need him, you can go to him, right? And Vladar, same way. So whatever you want to do, however you want to roll the dice, come, down the road next year, the year after, you should be in a good spot from a goaltending position anyway.
And Pinder made the point that why don't you see goalie deals then? Because you need the cap space and you need to have a need for goal. And it's true, but it doesn't change what you're saying is that there's whether they could fit the guy in cap wise or not, there would be a team that would be thinking would Calgary possibly move Markstrom because we could use him. He'd be an upgrade.
Well, man, but I don't buy the cap. I do buy the cap stuff during the year, but even when there's cap issues, there's teams out there that there's ways of making it work. And I don't think you're trading Markstrom during the year anyway. It's an off-season move, right? And then teams have time to figure out their cap stuff. So anyway, no one's saying I'm joking around, trade Markstrom this. You're not going to do that. But with Vladar playing as well as he is, I mean, Wolf playing as well as he is in the minors, and a guy that was a Vezina finalist last year, you're looking pretty good. You look in the mirror and you look at your organization. That's the strongest spot, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know that there's. Yeah, I don't think it's close. I'm not sure.
What do you need to win? I mean, it's crazy because we've been hacking on Markstrom. Oh, come on, you got a terrible rebound. But what do you need to win in the NHL? You need good goaltending. I'm sorry, you just do.
Yeah, and we'll move on because it's we're talking about trading Markstrom. I guess when I look at it, it's kind of less about trading Markstrom. It's just be careful before you just dish off Vladar. There's been a lot of very good goalies who started their careers with different teams. Your buddy in Buffalo, I believe, was a Chicago Blackhawk before he was Dominic Hasek, Buffalo Sabre great. Mika Kiprasov was a San Jose Shark, third guy in the depth chart.
What about this year in Boston? Who's playing in net for Boston this year?
Well, they've got
Linus Ullmark is killing it.
Ullmark.
And he was here in Buffalo. Like, they let him go.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. Buffalo's in a completely different world. Their situation they're in their own unique situation, but there's goalies that move and everyone goes, geez, damn it. Maybe you should have kept that one.
Mangiapane again, liked them. He had 2 goal posts. That line, you guys had the toast for him for BK Bowfort Liquor the other night. You could probably do it again. They've been pretty consistent. They've been very good. Coleman gets rewarded with the insurance goal, I guess. Yeah, I guess the insurance goal as this one comes down. That line looks very good. I don't know where we're at with the other 2 lines, but you're not breaking that line up as they look good again.
The other 2 lines like they're trying to play professionally hockey. Do you know what I mean? Like they're good enough and they're out there, but they're not playing with the same passion and emotion that Coleman and Mangiapane and those guys and backs are bringing to the ice, right? I think that I think that's the differentiating. I can't say that word.
It's a hard one.
Differentiate.
Differentiating, it's hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's too long. Anyway, they're fun to watch right now.
Yeah.
Play them more. I said it last time. I'll say it again. Play them more.
And didn't you also cut? I think you made the point that with Mangiapane, he looks like a guy who could have an unbelievable second half. He had that unreal start to the year. I wouldn't bet against it right now because he looks way more involved.
Way more involved. He's pissing people off. He's around, and the problem before him, and I guess we're talking negatively, or it's kind of a catch-22. He was so shitty for so long that he got 8 goals now. Even if he doubles his output the second half, he's still on a pace that you're like, we expected a little bit more. Like if he's 20 goals, you're like 25, okay, but we really want 30. 30's a long way to go.
Yeah,
but hey, I this is better than what we saw a month ago.
But if he can produce at that clip of a 30-goal guy the rest of the way, at least you've replaced some of that offense that you're missing, because you really haven't with Tkachuk or Gaudreau. I don't know. We talked about it on the other show today with Lindholm and Huberdeau not on the same line. I would not have guessed that would have been the case. I just thought that's going to be a natural fit. 2 skilled guys. One guy's, maybe a little bit more the playmaker, go get the puck, set the other guy up. But here now again, it was almost like Gaudreau, a better passer than shooter. Who's he passing to? I don't know. Lucic is on one of the lines, and he's Milan Lucic, and I feel like every time you bring up his name, we kind of crush him, or I kind of crush him. But there's nothing that feels like either of those lines is going to take off and roll for any amount of time to me.
And that's you're right. It's hard to bring up Luch because you don't want to crush him, because we all like him. We do, and we value what he was as a player. We understand he's still important in the room and a good guy and this and that. But he can't do what needs to be done up there. And even if he does it for a game, it's a game. It's not a sustainable thing, right? Like this, Kadri and Huberdeau and Lucic is never going to – there's no 100-point players on that line, ever.
No.
When they play together, there's no 80-point players on that line, right? Like you maybe 60 – close to 80, but they're not an elite NHL line. No way. No way. It's just not. And, you mentioned Lindholm. I'm going to say it again. And I'm looking at the scoreboard on my screen, and it's 4-1. And here sitting here complaining. I don't think he's fully engaged.
I'll do you one better. I've got it listed in the topics I want to talk to you about. I print off the score sheet. 2 points. Well, okay. So we're going to rip the guy with a pair of helpers. Now, one was on the empty net goal, so it doesn't really count. But he doesn't. He doesn't look like he's enjoying himself. He doesn't look like he's engaged.
He does. He looks disengaged, man. He doesn't look like he's having fun. And again, not again. He had 2 buddies, I think, that left, and he went from a top 5 line in the NHL to
at least.
Is he a second line guy on this team? I don't like what's 1 and 2. Like, to be quite honest with you, Backlund's line's the number 1 line.
Yeah.
The way they're playing in all reality. But my point is more, it can't be as fun for Lindholm this year. It's not. There's no way. You got Gaudreau tossing you tap-ins, zipping around. You're playing. You enjoy it. Kachuk's being a prick on your other side. Life, like, he had it pretty good, and now he's. It's not a slight against the guys he's playing with, but they're not as good as players. They are what they are, and I think Dubé's working hard, and I like watching him play. But there's no way that Lindholm hasn't been affected by those 2 guys leaving, Gaudreau and Tkachuk leaving.
I wonder too, not that you necessarily think it, but you go from having one of the top lines in the league and being on that and being a part of that and having everybody tell you how great your line is, to then this year where probably nobody's talking to you about anything. And if you don't wonder in the back of your mind, it's there. So those were the guys. It was
It
them.
wasn't
Why
me.
that
Yeah.
line was good, not so much you.
Yeah.
And whether
Yeah.
it's correct or not, I just wonder if you think that way.
Well, there would
Either way.
certainly be in your psyche it
Yeah.
would something you'd be considering, but I don't know. A 4-1 win in St. Louis is great. And you got 4 out of 6 on this road trip now. Actually, you're like, well, that seems okay. But
It
you
is one of
just,
those things. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Are these the dog days? I don't know what these are. We're a couple weeks away from the All-Star break, and you just got to grind out points. And Daryl has said it after the games. And on one hand, you feel like it's a bit of a cop-out, but then on the other hand, what matters? Getting points. Do you care how you get them or how many? And we've always said how many. So,
well, and it's true. You get the points because you know what? If you make the playoffs, maybe all that excitement comes back. Maybe all that passion and energy and that extra drive that you think that Lindholm or guys are missing, maybe that all comes back handsomely
yeah.
when the playoffs start. Because if you don't make it, you're never going to know.
Well,
Get the
what was
points.
it? But don't finish in a wild card because it's a waste of 8 days. Isn't that what Daryl said last year? You'd be going to
Yes.
play Vegas or whoever this year. It does feel like you'd get rolled up pretty quick.
Wow.
Whoever you are.
There's no way the Flames get through Vegas if Markstrom's not Vesna. It's the same as Edmonton last year. It was a waste of time. Why was it a waste of time? Because the goalie wasn't stopping their best players, and
Yeah.
like that's the equalizer for us.
Yeah. The other team was way better, and you didn't have an X factor or something that came out of the woodwork to compensate for it.
And I've lived that. I remember I've said it before on the shows we've done in the past where when I first came to Buffalo, we went to finals here. We went into Ottawa for the first series, and you looked at Ottawa's lineup, Alfredson, and I don't even know who was all. It was a Hossa star-studded lineup. Like they were good. And we looked around our room, it was like, oof. Until you looked in the corner and you saw the gangly goaltender, and you're like, oh, yeah, no, we got a chance here. We'll be fine. Right? Like the Flames need that.
Was it a lot different in 04? You had Iggy, I suppose, but I had to think there'd be some of those games where you'd be exhausted, peeling off your shit, looking around and being like, we just beat the Red Wings. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah. Wow. But that's the beauty of having a good goaltender, right? Because you don't care who you're playing against. You have confidence.
Let's do our toast of the game. BK Bowfort Liquor. Man deep in the good folks over at BK Bowfort Liquor. On the west side of town, next to the McDonald's and Starbucks, right across the Trans-Canada Highway from Canada Olympic Park. You heading out of town? You heading west? Just stop in there. Grab your pops on the way out of town with BK Bowfort Liquor. You can call Mandeep, 403-247-4722, and I guarantee you, if you're from Cal, if you've been around, you know exactly which spot we're telling you, because it's right there, and we've all seen it. BK Bowfort Liquor.
If you don't mind calling him, find out if he's any good. Pinder's curious to know.
Yeah, I know. Well, apparently he's pretty good. Toast of the game, line, performance, moment. What do you like from the night's matchup?
I'm going to give Daryl Sutter the toast of the game for putting Vladar into the net.
Is that right?
I don't think it was a tough decision, but I think it was the right decision, and he made enough saves that it was, I don't know that he was top 5 of his career efforts, but he played a solid game. So I'm going to toast Vladar.
There you go. I feel bad for Dylan Dubé. Gets the game-winning goal. Big goal there in the third period. Off of a turnover. Gets the empty netter. A 2-goal night. He's up to 10. While I'm talking about it, I wanted to check the notes. Now 10 goals for Dubé. Well, how close is he to his career high? Did you know he had 18 goals last year?
Well,
did not strike me as a almost 20 goal guy. Anyway, I guess maybe there were a lot of goals last year. I'm going to go with Walker Dewar, first NHL goal, and it was a shift or two before he scored. I was right. This you slide out Lucic and put him out there with Huberdeau and Kadri, I'd be just fine with this. Guy's running around. He's got some speed, big man. and then buries that one. You've talked about it too. I was thinking that was when I watched the replay. I was like, there's what Rhett talks about. Sometimes when you come into the zone and you're on an odd man rush, don't wait till you're at the top of the crease to make that pass across for the defenseman to get down and slide. Make it earlier when you get across the blue line. Then maybe you've got it back, or you can get a shot away. And it was a great shot from Walker Duehr there.
That was
first NHL goal.
It was good for him. It looked like he was excited and having fun. He didn't have it. He was, you don't question whether he had any energy for the game or whether he was engaged. He was fully engaged.
Family in the crowd.
Wrong jersey numbers.
Wrong jersey. Yeah. Blame the kid. I guess it's different for you. What were your parents at your first NHL game, or how did that work?
It's weird. So you've seen that live barn in all the rinks, right?
Yeah.
Like there's coverage of, like, you go watch 4-year-olds play hockey, right? My old man, first NHL game, couldn't find it. I didn't find out I was playing till the night before. And then it was an afternoon game, I think. And he's running around town trying to find a game. It was in Jersey. It wasn't, and I'm in Florida. So it's not like there was Canadian coverage on anything. So you're trying to find American coverage. It's not being broadcast coast to coast. He had to go to I think, what was it called? Seafood Sam's or something like that. And Sammy had a pirated card at the time.
Attaboy, Sammy.
Yeah, he could play it on the old 12-inch in the back.
Yeah.
But my mom and dad, I don't think my mom wouldn't have seen a game till halfway through my first year.
Different times back then, right?
Well, way different. And I was too cheap to pay for it. So,
great.
I was living in Florida by myself. Sorry, Mom.
And for Walker Duehr, his family's there. They're just hoping he gets a few shifts. It'd be great if Sutter put him out a few times, just so we could maybe get a picture or watch him. And then he scores. And this is not a first-round pick. This is a guy that was signed as an undrafted guy or whatever it is as a free agent. Then he gets a taste last year. They weren't at that game. That's pretty cool. So I'm happy for him, happy for the family. Good on you. A toast for Walker Duehr and for Daryl Sutter. There you go. BK Bowfort Liquor, next to the McDonald's and Starbucks in front of Canada Olympic Park, right on the right side, north side of Trans-Canada Highway. Good people. If you like supporting good people, then go and support Man Deep and his family at BK Bowfort Liquor. I was thinking afterwards, or during the game as well, if we had, as we add sponsors to Afterburner here, if we had your crunch of the game for an auto body shop or a potato chip or something, we knew what it would be in this game. When was it in the second period? I had the note here and I'll look at it, but just a massive hit. And not often you see somebody get the better of Milan Lucic. And
thanks a lot.
Not the Mikula guy at the sideboards, but Nazem Kadri absolutely laid him right out.
And I love how he plays. He doesn't take prisoners. He's not
that's
picking his spots. He goes after the big boys.
Yeah, the video is a good one because, and I don't know I never paid attention to or bothered who the St. Louis guy was that got out of the way. But Kadri comes in. If we have it, we could play it. Kadri comes in and just kind of throws the shoulder. So he's coming here. Whoop.
Oh!
and I mean, it's right on your wallet. That's Lucci just not expecting to get hit there. But that was a good body, Take the body, boys. Get on the body.
Crash of the game.
If you want to support Crunch of the Game, contact the Wolverine. Send email to Rhett on his phone. He'll get it and he'll get right back to you. Defensively, in this game, and again, I don't want to go and pick on guys. There was the one play where Tanev blocked a shot and then he left and he came back. He plays so hard, and he plays hurt.
I'm concerned with him. I think you're feeling the same way I am. Once that injury bug, because he played a lot of games. Earlier in his career, he was hurt lots. Came to Calgary, played a full year, didn't he? His first year here?
Yeah.
Hardly. And then the end of last year got hurt. And now you start feeling like, hey, is that injury bug back? Has it found him again?
And you call it an injury bug because when I when people would say, "Oh, he gets hurt a lot," I was like, was it like muscle pulls or is he? It's injuries from playing hard. It's
Yeah.
broken bones from
Exposed
blocking shots.
yourself.
It's not
Yeah.
like he's, oh, I pulled my, oblique or something. No, it's broken bones or something, separated shoulder because a guy fell on you or something like that. So I don't feel that like the guy is soft or anything. But again, I do worry, and his partner Mackenzie Weegar, I thought he had a bit of a challenging night. It was not a great night for Michael Stone. Zadorov looked a little bit loose, so at the end of the day, be a little bit better against Dallas. It's the next game, and we'll talk about that.
Wow.
The Stars are for real. We saw in the playoffs last year what it took to beat them, and I think they're harder out this year.
Well, that's the thing. You're critiquing a win, but you beat a team that has a third of their lineup out. So
7 regulars. Yeah.
I'm sorry. We're happy with the 4-1 win. That's great. But if you put up that performance against their full lineup, you might be leaving with a different taste in your mouth.
Yeah. And at the same time, you give credit, right? That Jordan Kyrou, Robert Thomas, those are world-class players. Kyrou a -3 tonight. Robert Thomas a -3. If you care, Pavel Buchnevich, he had a 5 or 6 game point streak coming in, -3 there. So I guess, maybe we'll have a little bit of positivity. Won't piss on everybody.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're really positive. We're good at that.
Be a bunch of positive guys. I meant to ask you, because you're in your basement there right now. Because at the house in Calgary that you used to live in, a tremendous setup for watching games. You got the big screen. It's cozy, great couch. You moved there. What's the viewing setup? How comfy and cozy are you there?
Actually, it's pretty good. My buddy gave me like a 4 or 5.
Tinkler?
No, Chucky Collard. He gave me I guess I don't need to put a number on it, but a very expensive recliner, like high-end recliner. Like, I live in this chair. It's amazing. And we found a couch. It's very comfy. Now, the TV, a little smaller, 55-inch. But the room doesn't really support a big 80. Can't get it in. But there's a fireplace. It's nice. It's cozy. The shoveler gave me shit today. You can't use that gas fireplace anymore. It's too much money. We got our electric bill or gas bill.
Yeah.
No more fireplace for Rat. Oh,
yeah. So Johnny Collard there that gave you the chair, is it like a massage chair? Does it vibrate, or is it just
it's just one of a classic leather recliner. Just a classic. And it's cozy. Yeah. Because I hurt my ribs. Remember, I hurt my ribs and I was sleeping in it.
I've got it. You could maybe just see it over my shoulder. I've got a chair. Got it brand new. It's got nice cup holders, power recline. It's got the USB ports and stuff to plug your shit in. I've got I don't know how big it is, 56-inch. So I get this room all set up for this, studio, this life that we're living now. Hang the TV up there. It's mounted and all that. I was in here for maybe about a week. And the TV just stopped working. And we've had it for a while. So now I got to take it off the wall and get rid of it and buy a new one and put it back up.
Did we talk about it on the show where I gave my TV that had crapped out?
Yes.
That's what you got to do. Have a party. Birthday? Yes.
So Warner has a 40th birthday party. He has like an amazing race. We got limos. It is awesome. It's one of the greatest nights that we had so much fun, so many laughs. And then the winning team, well, who's going to win? What are you going to get? Well, Rhett comes walking downstairs with this big TV box. It's like, wow, a brand new big screen TV. Holy cow. And I didn't think about it. It was maybe half a week later, we were at work. I was so, you got the TV, hey? He's like, oh yeah, it was my broken TV. It was the old one. I put the old one that doesn't work anymore in the new TV box. They got rid of my garbage for me. It was perfect.
You gotta have a party, boom.
So good. I need to have a party. Yeah. Hey, congratulations. 56-inch. Before, you know what? I know that Daryl spoke. They'll be moving on finally from St. Louis and getting on to Dallas. What do they got here? Dallas before the
What
end
do
of the
you
road
think
trip.
of playing back to back in the same city?
Here's the thing. Who did they did it versus San Jose and St. Louis, and I don't want to use that as my gauge because those were kind of some shitty teams. St. Louis, and with all due respect, they're not bad. They're just banged up, and San Jose isn't very good. What if you were playing a good team in back-to-back games, or if something happened? I don't dislike it. I think that if anything, there would be opportunity for that second game to be exciting.
And
these were not good gauges, I don't think, to use. If you're a player, what do you think?
I think you dislike it, but it actually makes more sense. Less travel is actually better. It's probably better for you in the long run. But I'm just and I wonder, because we haven't done it in Calgary, right? Where the fans have to go see the same team back to back.
I don't think so.
Like, I think it's worse for the home team and the home team fans, right? For us watching on TV, well, okay, it's St. Louis, but you're watching on TV. You're not paying for a ticket. It's not that big a deal. If you had season tickets in St. Louis and you were like, wow, really? I saw these guys on Tuesday.
And it's a Tuesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Don't know if I need to get to that Thursday game necessarily. But if it's one less kind of a weird one-off to St. Louis that's not really around anything or something, I don't know. I would probably be in favor of getting it done. But they're off to Dallas and then Nashville. But before they get out of St. Louis, they meet with the media. Daryl Sutter, curious to see what his thoughts. He didn't mind the effort the other night. He didn't crush them. He said, we'll take the point. It's a road game. Got to take it and move on. Here was Daryl tonight following a 4-1 victory against the Blues.
All three games we played against St. Louis this year, really close games going into the third. So we were able to get a save and score a goal.
Is that a textbook road hockey game for you guys?
No, I mean, we've played a lot of them. I mean, if you look at our road record, I mean, we've got points in 15 out of 22 games.
How about just, I mean, they scored that early one, but didn't seem around.
It was a really good play by them. You know what? So they make two good passes and get a little bit of break, but it's a really good play. So it's no different than, quite honestly, the other night. We weren't rattled. It was just you need to save and you need to score a goal. It's the difference.
Good to see a young kid in Walker Dewar step up.
Yeah, it's good for the young man from South Dakota.
It's one of the best ever from South Dakota, isn't it?
I think it's the only one. I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. It's always, I mean, everybody always remembers their first one, so he will for sure.
And you still get a kick out of seeing these young guys do it.
It's awesome. You know, that's a kid that wasn't drafted. He comes up the hard way. Spends his 4 years in school, starts the American League where everybody should.
It wasn't his only chance tonight either. He had a couple of looks at.
Yeah, you know, he didn't play any different than he did the first game. You know, just the way the commercial timeouts and the penalties were. It was you couldn't utilize all the lines as much as I wanted to, but you know, I stayed ready and it's good. Great play by Naz. Louis makes a good play to get it to Naz.
You talked about that Lindholm Dubé to Foley line this morning, and then they produced the game winner.
You know, it's not about work with them guys. It's just, you know, a lot of times they'll get a little bit too vertical in their game and not horizontal, and that happens and it takes away their strengths. And you know, like Dylan's the speed guy on the line, Lindy's the driver in the middle, and Ty's you know, he's so good on the walls and the shooter and all that. So when they get too spread out or not in sync, then they get frustrated with it. So you just reinforce with them how they should play and can play.
Dan Vladar gave you everything you could have asked for.
Yeah, it's as I said, you need saves. I mean, that's the way the league has big saves and timely goals, and our team is, we talked about Eric. It's not like a explosive team, so we all got to play the same way to give ourselves a chance to win.
Daryl never if you pay close attention, he'll tell you just how little skill they have when it comes to scoring goals.
He's really grooming them in every sense of the right, every
Yeah.
all facets. I'm sure when he goes in the room, when they hear the media, when they read the newspaper, it's gonna be, we're not that good. We need saves.
We need saves. There are a few great little Sutter isms in there. It's I don't think that he's loath to do it, but you have to do something pretty special to get some kudos if you're the goaltender. It's the old boy. The goalie was great tonight. Well, he's on our payroll too. You know, he can play well. That'd be fine.
Supposed to stop pucks.
Yeah, you need saves to win hockey games. What else do you want me to say? And Walker Dewar from South Dakota, undrafted, did it the right way. Starting the American Hockey League, which you should. 4 years of school, so that's what Pelche did wrong. He was a draft pick. Jacob,
you're too young.
Jacob,
figure it out.
But hey, you are happy for those guys. Interest now.
I was shocked when he said 15 out of 22.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I underestimate where the Flames actually are record-wise, because, again, we were harping on them yesterday after throwing away a game and then losing in Chicago as well. And you're like, wow, they're grumbling about it. And then you go back over their last, whatever you guys had the stats, points, and a whole bunch of games. So it's not like they've completely folded, but it just doesn't, I don't know what it is. It doesn't seem, they're not inspiring me, I guess, is part of my problem. Because I see some of it and I'm like, oh, all right, Lindholm's line, okay, Dubé had good, but I wasn't at the rink, but if I was at the rink, I wouldn't have been leaving the rink talking to my buddies about how great the Lindholm line was.
No. And now I'm just looking at my phone here and I'm guessing that it's been updated because Seattle beat Boston. So that's the Kraken, man. I'll tell you. The Flames remain 5 back of third spot. And I wonder if that, because you got the Oilers and the Flames and the 2 wild cards. So with that St. Louis regulation loss, they don't move up. But if that gap between third and the Flames and Oilers, I don't see right now Seattle, the Kings, or Vegas slowing down anytime soon. And for the Flames, they kind of, you know what it was, is you played some soft opponents and you didn't dominate. You lost to Chicago. You lost to St. Louis, who was out undermanned kind of thing. That's probably at the end of the day. There are points, and
but that's the second half of that
every day. Yeah,
that their quality of opponent maybe hasn't been so sharp either. You know, you go back over the last 10 games. Oh, they got lots of points. Who did they play?
Yeah,
like who have they beat?
It's like those road trips when you go and you play Tampa, Florida, Carolina, and maybe you get 1 point out of those 3 games. You're more focused on, but they played well. They went in there. Those are tough buildings, that whole stuff. Yeah. Whereas here, we don't care how hard you played. You should have won. So, but I think we're still right.
We are.
I think we're still right about that. I was trying to wrap my head around what he had to say about the Lindholm line being too vertical and not enough horizontal, because usually a coach will tell you less east-west and more north-south. So I don't know that I necessarily got the difference, but then he kind of explained that they get a little bit too spread out. I don't know. We've already kind of talked about Lindholm and that line already on this show, but they get a game winner out of Dubé. He puts in the empty netter, a couple points for both Toffoli and Lindholm. At the very least, they're leaving St. Louis happy with their personal performances. They got some points, get a win, move on and play Dallas.
Yeah, and I do think that's important, because I don't think you leave Chicago feeling good about yourself. I don't think you leave the rink in St. Louis on Tuesday night feeling very good about yourselves. So it is important for them to leave St. Louis and getting on that plane now and having a smile, a little lightheartedness, right? Like it's way. You win games where you don't actually play well, you're still smiling and having fun afterwards. You lose games where you do play well, you don't get on the plane and smile and have as much fun. Like it's a results based thing. So I think it's important for them to get that win and to be able to actually lighten the mood, take a little stress off because you got big games left, like Dallas and Nashville. Those are not tap ins. Like those are going to be hard to pull out 4 points there. So take your points, get a smile, and go in with a little more confidence, hopefully, and a little less stress when you got to go play Dallas.
Before we go, we'll do our buy it and sell it feature of the program. It is Derrick Newman of Newman Dean's Real Estate Group with CIR Realty. You can call Derrick. You can just call him right up.
Call
him right now. He'd love to hear from you right now.
Typically,
403-619-6661. Sorry.
Typically, I email him because I was part of his golf masters pool
is that right?
Couple of years. So
yeah.
Maybe.
But
I have to
share his
him
email.
Money usually. No.
So for Derrick Newman of Newman Dean's with CIR Realty, the buy it or sell it. I've
got one.
Oh,
I've got one.
All right.
And it was the man that just talked. And my question, are you buying or selling Daryl's handling of young players this year? Matthew Phillips, Walker Dewar, Pelche's been discussed a lot but not seen. Should he be doing more, or is his mindset correct in that when the kids are ready, they'll get to play? But right now, my focus is on winning hockey games. What are you buying or selling? How Daryl has handled the youth?
I'm gonna sell because you look at I guess with Pelche, you start to look through that draft class. Because he's a point per game player in the American Hockey League, and what he's done at the AHL level, he's showing elite AHL stuff. And you keep hearing he's doing things at the AHL level that guys his age often don't do. I just don't see, when you are this goal starved, when you're this offensively challenged, is there not some way to put him in? How do you change the roster if there's injuries? Or if you need to shake things up? I guess you're getting points, but I don't see why. I watched Neighbors tonight for St. Louis. Here's a young guy. You look around the league, there's a lot of young guys, a lot of guys from that draft. They've played NHL games. I get it. I just don't feel like you're throwing a game in the trash just so you can play Jacob Pelche. What if the kid's good? What if you find out here's a guy that's maybe his development has really come on, and I know he didn't have a great camp and that hurts him, but you get so into your, I didn't play. I can only assume though, when you're a first round pick and you come to camp the second or third time around, and maybe this is the time you're expected, you could make the team. And then you just psych yourself right out. I just don't see, this is not the 85 Edmonton Oilers where you're taking Glenn Anderson or Yari Curry out of the lineup to get a kid in. I think it could help them potentially. It's not just a carrot that you're hanging for good work and good effort in the American League. This guy may be able to help you.
I kind of agree with you too. Like, and I guess for buy it or sell it, I'd sell it as well. Now I wonder if I said this to Pinder the other day. I don't know. I can't remember if it was this Afterburner or the afternoon show. Is it better to not have him around Daryl? Like you heard Daryl at the end of this or in his interview again, we're not talented, blah, blah. Is that what you want, a potential point producer hearing and being subjected to?
I don't know, because remember Adam Ruzicka, he and Matthew Phillips, when they were playing together with, I guess it was Stockton at the time, they were top 1-2 in team scoring and near a point a game, and Ruzicka's come in and he continues to play every night, even though the offense isn't there.
But I think Ruzicka adds something different than, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you're grooming Ruzicka to be a number one centerman. Ruzicka probably in the AHL was, and he was probably playing number one because they wanted to get him as many minutes as possible, right? He might not be considered a true number one center, or I think he's got he's just as likely to end up playing the third line center as a first line center. Whereas I think a guy like Pelche, I mean, the little bit that I know about him is that he better be putting up points and being offensively productive, because he's probably not going to be relied upon to be a third, fourth line winger.
It makes you wonder a little bit if Daryl was here and if Andrew Mangiapane had a bad training camp, would he have ever cracked the lineup and gotten a shot? Because he's about the same build, probably has about the same, I'm just off the top of my head, I don't know what he had in junior or at the American Hockey League, but he didn't spend a lot of time there. No. I just wonder if he would have been also one of those guys that was so psyched out and so the pressure is so on. If you get a game, you better be good. You better be good, because you may not get another chance. What if Andrew Mangiapane is on some other team right now? Maybe unfair to Daryl, but
we'll see how it plays out. They're selling.
I am selling. Derrick Newman of Newman Dean's Real Estate Group with CIR Realty. Give him a call, 403-619-6661. 403-619-6661. Good guy, that Derrick, eh? He came by and saw the studio the other day. He's tall. I don't like that. Tall and lean, good looking, and in good shape.
I'm not sure I've ever met him. I've only sent him money through email. So.
But outside of that, square guy. Awesome, he's pretty. You're gonna be able to trust Derrick Newman, is what I'm telling you.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm telling you. So, more points, they get a win. And I guess just the final thought, when you were saying about being able to get onto the plane, you'll also be able to, at least with how my brain works, if somebody says, yeah, but you're getting points. You're not winning every game, but you're getting points. I'd be a little bit more willing to let myself accept that tonight than I would have after the game on Tuesday, where you squandered that lead in the third period. It's like, yeah, as bad as Chicago was, we got a point, and we should have probably won that one, but we got a point. And then you win tonight, so it's 4 of a possible 6. We're on the road. It's January. You take it, right?
You follow up a tie with a win, and it's always good. You follow up a tie with a loss, and you're like, oh, especially against the teams they've played recently. But it's true all the time. Where a tie, you're like, whatever. Whether you deserved it or not, you'll take. Okay, we'll take the points, because the next game is what dictates whether you're in shit or not. Yeah. If you squander the next 2 points, well, now you're no good. If you win, nothing to think about, nothing to see here. So they did the right thing.
Yeah. Before I let you go, last question, and it might be the same answer to both. Who do you think starts against Dallas? Who does start? Who would you start against the Stars in net coming up in 2 days?
Vladar.
You think he'll do it?
I do. Yeah.
He was good.
That's
good.
The other. Made the saves.
He's not going to come out in the press conference and throw rose petals at his feet, but he got them a point against Chicago because he was really good there with some saves when he came in, and he was good in that first period tonight. The breakaway from Saad, I thought that was in, because Saad's been on a tear.
Yeah,
but
and Markstrom got yanked in Chicago, whether it was a signal to the rest of the team to wake up or not, which Daryl claims it wasn't, but he followed that up with a stinker. So yeah, I absolutely think he'll go with Vladar.
That'll do it. Afterburner. This is what we do on school nights, as Pinder puts it. We hop on here, give you a little bit of real good hard hitting sports talk that you need for your drive to work or on the treadmill or whatever it is you do. When do you listen to a podcast? Are you a big podcast guy?
All day, every day. Yeah. Actually, don't listen to anything else.
That's right. All right, buddies. That's Afterburner. See you next week.